Merry meet. Welcome to Witch Magic. I'm Dawn, and I will be taking you on a spiritual journey to all things magic and witchcrafts. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Witch Magic. So, this is the best time of the year, in my opinion. And oh my gosh, we've been having so much fun just watching scary movies all the time, all the horror movies. And this year, I've been watching a lot of the movies from the 80s. So I was really excited about that. Because last year I didn't watch so much of the older movies. I watched a bunch of new ones. And there's nothing like going back to my time period, when I was growing up and watching these movies as a teenager. It's just been so great. And we've been enjoying some Halloween events. We have our annual Halloween party coming up actually this coming Saturday night. So I'm very excited about that. And I have to say, and this is so unlike me right now, I do not have my costume ready. I've been kind of like trying to figure out what to dress up as this year. I really wanted to dress up as Lydia from Beetlejuice, wearing the red wedding dress and having that updo hair, stuff like that. And I don't know. I looked online at costumes and they are a little pricey. And I can imagine a lot of people are probably going to dress up like that this year, due to the new movie coming out this year. So then I decided, well, maybe I'll just be something more simple, things like that. And I think I'm going to go with the really simple and dress up as a witch. I've done it a few times before. As a matter of fact, a couple years ago, I dressed up as the Wicked Witch of the West, because we were doing like a Wizard of Oz kind of theme between three of us, And so I think this year I'm just going to wear my hats, wear my cape, wear a black dress. I might get a tutu, just kind of like, make it look Halloween-y, costume, party-ish, things like that. Maybe do up my face a little bit, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. So hopefully you guys have really good plans for Samhain/Halloween. We're also going to go trick-or-treating with the kids like we do every year, the grandkids. So I'm really looking forward to that. The other night, Chris and I went to Applebee's for dinner, and we got into the parking lot. It was so full of cars. We were like, oh boy, what is going on here? And there were kids in costumes and holding buckets and everything like that. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? They had some kind of Halloween event for the kids in the parking lot, the next parking lot over. And yes, I'm holding my microphone because sometimes I can't stand wearing it on my shirt. I don't know. But anyway, hopefully it's on. But anyway, so it was pretty crazy. And the further up that we went into the parking lot, the more we could see of what was going on. And there was like all these costumed creatures everywhere and everything. And I was like, oh, how cute is this? I just love seeing kids out in their costumes and trick-or-treating and everything like that. It's just so much fun. I just love it so much. All right, so let's talk about black cats. So black cats have had a bad rep since the Middle Ages. And for some reason, they were blamed for causing and spreading the bubonic plague, which in fact, it was rodents that were causing it. So they ended up banning black cats, right? Which made things worse because guess what? Since the rodents were spreading it, now you don't have the black cats eating the rodents, right? So the rodents were roaming free and they were spreading this bubonic plague everywhere. The association between cats and witches, especially black cats, came early on claiming that cats are witches' familiars. and then they were up to evil together. So, especially black cats, since they can roam around in the darkness without being seen. As a matter of fact, people claimed that having a black cat cross your path meant bad luck was coming. And people blamed witches for sending a black cat across your path in order to put you in harm's way. Some cultures think that cats are lucky, especially black cats. Think of Egypt. They worship cats, right? Especially black ones, since they resemble Bastet, the cat goddess. So I remember this was a while back. I was wanting to adopt a cat, and I wanted to get a black cat. And this was way before I got into witchcraft and anything like that. So it had nothing to do with me being a witch. I just wanted a black cat because I thought they were cool. And this was around the month of October. And I went to several places, and they did not have any black cats. So I kept with my search. And finally I asked somebody, and I don't remember where this was. I don't remember if it was at a shelter or, at a PetSmart, something like that. I don't remember what it was. But I do remember asking somebody, hey, I'm on the lookout for a black cat, where can I adopt one? And they told me that it was pretty impossible to adopt a black cat in the month of October. And of course I asked why. And they said because cats were being put up as a sacrifice or up to evil intentions around that time. And I'm like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And they just explained to me that, because of the history of black cats and this time of year being October and witches are wanting black cats. And it's like, not all witches are wanting them for sacrifice, of course. But I guess there were some that were looking for, and I don't even know how they got this information, because why would you even go up to a place and say, hey, I want an animal to sacrifice? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to give you one for that reason? But yeah, I guess they were thinking that there was a lot of ill intentions going on with black cats around the time of October, so they were not adopting them in that month. So I had to wait like a month or two before I could adopt my black cat. And her name was Sabrina, by the way. And yeah, I got and as much as I wasn't a witch at the time, I still was always fascinated by witches and witchcraft, things like that. So yeah, the name Sabrina was the inspiration from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Even though the cat in the show was named Salem and the girl's name is Sabrina, I still wanted to name my cat Sabrina. So that was the inspiration for that. So yeah, if you're looking for a black cat during the month of October or around October, you're going to be out of luck because they're not going to be readily available at this time. All right, so let's move on to our next segment and talk about Frankenstein. So Mary Shelley wrote this famous Gothic novel called Frankenstein when she was just 19 years old. This was over 200 years ago, a long, long time ago. And I'm sure everyone knows the story, but just let me recap anyway. So basically, a man named Victor was this doctor / scientist. His name was Victor Frankenstein, right? And he inherited his grandfather's home, which included his grandfather's lab. And in his lab, he found all kinds of his notes. He found all kinds of notes. And he was very intrigued by the notes that he found when it came to bringing a man back to life. Now, the grandfather, I guess, wasn't very successful about it, but Victor kept reading more and more about it. And He added his own notes, and he became crazed and obsessed to the point where he dug up a body from a grave and gave it a living brain, as well as other body parts, and especially the organs that would make him come to life. And with the help of his assistants and a lightning storm that night, he was able to bring this creature back to life. And he was anything but human. As a matter of fact, he was dubbed the monster. So a lot of people call the monster Frankenstein, because I guess named after the doctor Victor Frankenstein. But in our reality, Frankenstein is the name of the man who created the monster, right? But we just know him as Frankenstein. He tried to teach him how to speak. He tried to teach him how to walk. He tried to teach him all these kinds of things. But all this monster did was destroy everything in sight. He was big, first of all. This was a big guy, a big creature, okay? And the brain that they had put in him was not a very good brain. And it only made him crazy, right? So he destroyed things, and he ended up destroying some people as well. A creation like this cannot act as usual as humans, right? No way. So this story has been depicted several times through movies and books. Pretty much all the same story, but with certain twists. You know what I mean? Think about the original Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, right? And Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder, which was a comedy, but it pretty much gave you the idea and the gist of what the story was about, you know? And by the way, that movie was my daughter Dassie's favorite for the longest time. You know, if you ask her what one of her favorite kind of monster movies was, it would be Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder. And there is a Frankenstein series written by Dean Koontz. And I read this series a while back. Actually, I read the books over and over again because I love them so much. I want to say there were, now I wish I had written the note for this because I don't remember exactly how many books. I want to say there were like 7, 8 books. I could be mistaken. But anyway, it kind of moves on after all of this, you know, and the monster went his separate way, and Victor Frankenstein changed his name for obvious reasons, you know. He was now Victor Helios, but he was still doing twisted work in his labs. And the monster, who was named, I guess he named himself or got named Deucalion, he was trying to be as human as possible, right? And he went through all kinds of different cultures. You know, he was able to travel really quickly around the world. And he was after Victor Frankenstein because of what he did to him and what he has become. And he didn't want anyone else to go through the same tortures, right? Or any other humans to be getting sacrificed and everything. So really good book series. They tried making a movie out of it. And as you could tell by my tone, I did not care for it too much. And I believe it was by Martin Scorsese. And yes, Dean Koontz at first was all go about, yeah, let's do a movie about this. But when he read the script, he did not want anything to do with it. If I'm remembering this correctly, this was a while ago. And he did not want to have anything to do with it. And I kind of wondered why. But then once I saw the movie, because I was all excited about it, because I'm like, oh my goodness. So they only, as far as I know, only released the first movie, you know, from the first novel. And then I think they stopped because they weren't getting very good feedback. And yeah. All right. So when you read a book, you have the picture in your mind of what it looks like. You get to know the characters, from their description, and you kind of set it up in your mind as if watching a movie, that you're kind of like creating along with this author in your mind. So you have the author's look of it, right? But you also have your own look to it as well. And the movie wasn't anything like that at all. Not at all. And even like the actors in the movie, even though I've seen some of them in different other things and I've liked them in different other things, they were not the characters that I came to know in this book. Sorry, they just weren't, and the setting of it, everything of it was just so bad. Now, they got most of the dialogue right, but then it was flat. You know what I mean? Like I pictured and I heard the dialogue in my mind while I was reading these stories. And again, the actors in this movie were just very flat, pretty much as if they were just reading the book. You know what I mean? Reading the lines from the book and not acting them out. And it was so horrible that I could never bring myself to watch it again. And if they ever did do movies from the other novels of the series, I wouldn't be able to watch it. Not unless they changed it around and Dean Koontz became involved and maybe they got a different director and said, this is how it's going to be done. This is my vision. This is how we're going to do it. Like J.K. Rowling's books on Harry Potter, right? Oh my goodness. How close were those movies to the books, Anyway, but yeah, that's my opinion though. You might end up liking the movie. I don't know. But the books were really awesome. So I highly recommend, seeking them out and reading them because they were really good. Dean Koontz's Frankenstein. And I'm looking at my notes here. What else was I going to say? So getting back to Mary Shelley, the originator of Frankenstein, right? So she may have gotten her inspiration from a real-life alchemist in Germany who robbed graves and conducted experiments using electricity at Frankenstein's castle. Yes, it's a real place. All right. And it is the birthplace of this alchemist named Johann Conrad Dippel. So very cool. So now let's talk about Samhain and Halloween. So I'm just going to go over the correspondences because, I've done episodes on Samhain and Halloween before. So you can pretty much go back and listen to those if you would like. I don't know if I have the videos to it, but I do have on YouTube, if you go, I do have a video on the Salem witch trials. So you might want to look that up because that was a pretty good episode. All right, so the correspondences for Samhain and Halloween. The colors are black, orange, and purple. Symbols, ghosts, witches, and pumpkins. Crystals, bloodstone, moonstone, and onyx. Deities, the Morrigan, Cernunnos, and Hecate. And foods are apples, pumpkins, and spice cake. All right. I was so excited for this time of year. I have been listening to my Halloween playlist. I have a bunch of songs on my Halloween playlist, and I just keep adding more and more each year. And this year, I added the full album by Duran Duran called Danse Macabre. And I did have a bunch of their songs on my Halloween playlist that I put on there last year, but they came up with this deluxe album where they added a few more songs, which are really cool. And so I got a free download because I bought concert tickets. We're going to be going to see them in a couple of weeks. I was really hoping to be able to see them for their Halloween bash, but we're not able to do that. But anyway, so I downloaded their whole album and I highly recommend it if you like Duran Duran. This is such an amazing album. They do a couple of cover songs, but they also have their own song. It's a total Halloween album. So it's really, really cool. So anyway, magic you can do at this time of year is, of course, read your divination cards using like the 3-card spread. So the past, present, and future spread. Start a new project and contact spirits. All right, so now I'm going to have to put this microphone down because I want to go ahead and do a rune reading for you. Go ahead and add that to my shirt. It's the reason why I don't like to have it on my shirt because it stretches the shirt a little bit. Anyway, so let's go ahead and do a rune reading. And while I am digging through my bag of runes, think about what we want to know right now, around this Samhain season. Let's find out what's going to be happening and see what we come up with. I love the feeling. Oh, Odin, the blank rune. All right. Let's see, page 142 in my trusty book. Okay, Odin, also known as the unknowable, the divine, and Odin, the all-father. Blank is the end, blank the beginning. This is the rune of total trust and should be taken as exciting evidence of your most immediate contact with your own true destiny, which, time and again, rises like the phoenix from the ashes of what we call fate. The appearance of this rune can portend a death, but that death is usually symbolic and may relate to any part of your life as you are living it now. Relinquishing control is the ultimate challenge for the spiritual warrior. Here, the unknowable informs you that it is in motion in your life. In that blankness is held undiluted potential. At the same time, both pregnant and empty, this rune comprehends the totality of being, all that is to be actualized. Drawing the blank rune may bring to the surface our deepest fears. Will I fail? Will I be abandoned? Will it all be taken away? And yet, our highest good, our truest possibilities, and all our fertile dreams are held within that blankness. Willingness and permitting are what this rune requires. For how can you exercise control over what is not yet in form? The blank rune often calls for no less an act of courage than an empty-handed leap into the void. Drawing it is a direct test of faith. The unknowable represents the path of karma, the sum total of your actions and their consequences, the lessons that are yours for this lifetime. And yet, this rune teaches that the very depths of old karma shift and evolve as you shift and evolve. Nothing is predestined. What beckons is the creative power of the unknown. Whenever you draw the blank rune, take heart. Know that the work of self-change is progressing in your life. All right, pretty cool. And there that is. All right, so I do have the Witch's Spell a Day Almanac, and I did not pick a spell yet. So let me go ahead and figure out. Of course, I'll have to do it for a day after today. So you guys have time to gather all the ingredients and whatnot. Let's see. How about we do this spell called Leaf Gold? And it's for our Tuesday, October 22. The color of the day is maroon, and the incense of the day is geranium. National Color Day celebrates the wonderful diversity of color in the world. Whether by playing with paints, taking a hike in nature, or making a playlist of colorful songs, there are a lot of fun ways to appreciate the hues in your life. And I'm reading this. This is the author saying this. One of my favorite things to do is watch the leaves change in color where I live. No matter where I have resided, there's always a shift. In some places, the change is subtle. In other places, it's a riot of color, like in New England. That's where I am, New England. And oh, the trees have been so beautiful. I hand collected the fallen leaves for spell projects, and especially for decorating altars. There are so many different shapes and colors, all free and on my doorstep. Here are some ideas for using some of that leaf gold for your magic. Collect all one kind of leaf, such as oak or maple, then search for the subtle variations. Display them fanned out chromatically or make a garland out of them. Collect one color of leaf, but from different varieties, and do the same as above. Connect with a favorite tree and gather a leaf fallen to write an intention on. Release it to the wind when you're done. And this was written by Laura Tempest Zakroff. All right, so there you have it. So, Samhain, Halloween, all of these great things happening. You know, the veil between the two worlds are thinning more and more every day as we get closer to Samhain. And I have been feeling it. I really have. And it's amazing. So don't fear it. You know, embrace it. Connect with the spirits. Connect with your spirit guides. Connect with your ancestors. That would be wicked cool. Get like a spirit board. Do a seance. That would be fun. I haven't done one of those in so long. Oh my goodness. I should probably maybe do one myself. That would be pretty cool. Go see a medium, you know, anything. Yeah, just a great time of year to connect with the spirits. All right, everyone. Have a blessed Samhain and a Halloween. And until next time, be magical. Thank you for tuning in to Witch Magic. If you like this show, please head over to Apple or Spotify and give me a 5-star rating and a review. It will really help with the algorithm of the show and to help people find it. Thank you.